Live from Las Vegas, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker. L.A. Walker. Raw and unfiltered conversations on how to give life's challenges the finger. Truth is your passport to emotional freedom. Give an eviction notice to negativity. Dump yesterday's garbage. Learn how to be positive, energized, healthy, and alive during these insanely unpredictable times. Look up, get up, stay up. Then help somebody else to get up. Remember, any part of up is higher than down. Now, broadcasting hope to the world, L.A. Walker.
Hi. I hope you're having a great and wonderful day. And I know that it's so easy to just say, look up, get up, stay up. Any part of up is higher than down until the challenges come. We are the deciders. We are the determining factor of how this day will progress and end. Guess what? It's up to us. So you and I have to make decisions when those challenges come. How are we going to handle it? Do we want to have a miserable day all day? A miserable day all day? How exhausting. Being peaceful and happy and joyous are intentional actions. Intentional actions. I want those things to happen. Therefore, I will do what I need to do so that I can be happy, joyous, and peaceful. I'm not dragging yesterday's troubles into today, nor am I going to take anything that I'm not pleased with today and put it into tomorrow. I am going to be open, present, and available. Opa, baby. That's it. I'm doing today and today only. Ready, set, go. Let's do this. So today we have an episode of The Land of I Don't Know, Dementia. Our guest is Julie O'Hara, and this is really a special moment for us because in this episode, we get an opportunity to actually listen to some relationship dynamics between siblings. Very often, we as people have a tendency to think that what we have experienced, everybody has experienced the same way. It becomes obvious that there's a different dynamic between singles and married. There's a different dynamic between child and parent. But we sometimes forget, and even parents forget, that siblings have different ways of handling circumstances, and we are impacted differently. And so today we get a chance to talk with Julie, who is the sister of Jennifer Wampler, who we discussed The Land of I Don't Know with the last podcast episode. And talk about having some cognitive impairment. When I started that podcast series off last week, I said it was episode 3. Boy, was I wrong. The episode that we're doing today is episode 6 of 7. I'll be back right after this. Illumina on Raiders Way is your resort home. It comes equipped with the latest in-home technology, workspaces, and activities that promote health and wellness. With Lexi's Bistro providing indoor and outdoor dining, entertainment, craft, cocktails, and gaming, resident lifestyle care has never been better. Comfort and enjoyment every day at Illumina on Raiders Way. Call for a tour today at 702-825-7253. Book a tour at 702-825-7253. Be sure to say you heard of Illumina on Raiders Way from me, L.A. Illumina on Raiders Way, another Schulman residential resort property with resident lifestyle provided by Axum Hospitality.
You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker.
Julie O'Hara.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you, LA?
I'm doing okay, too. I know we had to delay our interview a couple of times because you, like me, had an upper respiratory infection, and I know that you are still struggling with it a little bit today as we continue. But if we don't do it now, when? Because these upper respiratory infections seem to last for months now. They just don't go away like they used to.
No, we've tried it. We've got to try and tough it out and do it now. And I will do my best to be good and pop in a cough drop.
Whatever it takes. I am so delighted that after listening to your sister's interview with me, Jennifer Wampler, that you wanted to chime in and share your perspective and how you were affected by this dementia thing.
She's pretty cool, isn't she?
Yeah, she's very cool. She's very cool. Yeah, I like her a lot. I always have.
Me too.
You kind of like her too, huh? That's good.
Yeah.
What was it about? That's not on our list of questions, but what was it about the interview I had with your sister that made you want to jump in?
Because after listening to what she had to share and hearing some of her perspectives and her description of her experiences, it occurred to me that much of it was very common, as I imagine it might be with my other siblings as well. We have 3 others.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and but I did find that there were certain parts of it that were really different for me, and I thought that was an interesting concept, that different people in the same family, and a very close family at that, would have very different perceptions of some of the experiences.
I think this is absolutely perfect, to be honest with you. So I want to ask you some questions about your other siblings. Are they talkative? Are they able to express themselves about it? Because sometimes people, go through things differently and they can't. But do you think they can, or?
Well, I would say that you probably can guess that my entire family is talkative.
Okay, good. I love it.
And the brother that's younger than me is going through some health things right now. So probably not him. But then there's a sister that's a little younger than Jenny. And then there's the baby who's now 54.
Okay.
And they're all very outspoken and well-spoken and intelligent and witty.
Well, I'm not surprised by any of that. Your sister has already laid the groundwork for professional, witty, and talkative, which I love all 3. I am the same, so it's a good match. When did you become aware of your mother's dementia?
Do you know that I thought about that for a while after I saw the question that you sent to me about that, and it occurred to me that I don't rightly know the exact time when I identified, that she had dementia of some sort. She passed in 2012, and I'm going to say it was maybe 2007 or 2006, roughly.
Okay. And how did you come in contact with that news?
Well, first of all, we all had seen that our mother was doing things differently for a number of years before.
Okay.
But then I came into contact with that news when my father shared it with me, because we all knew that he was taking her, to a neurologist to have a workup done. And as we all had expected, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. What we didn't know until later, because they began to pin down her diagnosis as time goes on, I imagine you know how that is.
I do.
Was that her variety was frontal temporal dementia.
Okay, which was unknown back then to most of us.
Mm-hmm, right. And that I came to learn is, I'm sure each type has its own joyous, unique characteristics, but the one that she had the sometimes anger and sometimes violence.
Okay.
But I don't think my mother, I don't know, because I didn't live with them, but my sense was my mother wasn't intentionally violent. She just became rough, and older people sometimes have very thin skin, right? Meaning they've been out in the sun too much.
Sure.
And she would grab my father's arm and his skin would tear. So, he was injured a lot. But I don't have a sense that she was intentionally doing it to him, although she was, as I'm sure it may or may not have been the case in your situation, they typically are hardest on the people that they trust the most and feel.
Yeah, I kind of know a little something about that. Yes, I had a good dose of that. Yes, I get it. Did you readily accept that your mother had dementia, or did you have to process that and it take you some time to accept it?
I feel as if it really didn't take me time to accept it. It
Okay.
didn't make me happy, of course, but
Of course.
we had noticed behaviors for a long time.
Okay. But you had nothing to attribute them to, and so that's why a diagnosis is like really important.
Right. It helps you know that you're looking at something that isn't going to get better.
Right.
And that way you can adjust yourself and start understanding from trial and error, but also from, lovely friends that have sadly been through the same thing, or from reading articles, the best way to handle certain behaviors or situations.
So another question for you is, when you found out, had you had any prior knowledge about dementia and the various behavior and health changes that were going to manifest in your mom?
I had. Most of us, well, I don't know if most of us, I'll speak for myself, but I think others in the family felt that my grandfather on my mother's side also had dementia of some sort. And so I'd seen his behaviors, and I wanted to attribute them to a disease because it was a change, and because he got, I hate to say meaner, but, we wanted to believe it was not him, but rather some underlying condition that was causing it.
Yeah, I understand. How did your mother's condition affect you?
For a while, it really didn't affect me very much at all. I mean, you get to a point where and it doesn't take too long to figure out how to deal with things if you're doing your own research and such. But I mean, it affected me in weird ways. Like, for example, and neither did my father, excuse me. She would forget that, and she'd bring us both out big glasses of wine when I'd come over to visit, and we'd say, "Oh, thank you, Mom," because you are aware we don't point out her errors and so forth.
Of course.
Just in a plant and move on. But I didn't feel like that affected me because I never had the urge to drink it, so it wasn't a problem that it was sitting there. It affected me there were rare occasions that I understood certain things that were happening with my dad. We have another sister that is in a medical profession. She's a physical therapist. And so she lived closer to them, physically closer. And he may have told her more than he told me or some of the rest of us. But I didn't know how much he was dealing with and how increasingly it was getting more impossible. And at that point, when it did get really impossible, then we would try to give him relief by spelling him and taking her home or so forth.
You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker.
In a world where memories slip away like grains of sand through fingers, there exists a timeless collection of solace and understanding. Introducing Whispers of the Heart, a poetry collection by Marcia Norris, published by Social Issues Theater. Within these pages lies a sanctuary of words crafted to honor the journeys of those touched by dementia and the steadfast caregivers who walk alongside them. Whispers of the Heart speaks directly to the hearts of wives, husbands, siblings, friends, and the youth whose emotions often go unheard. Each poem is a gentle embrace, offering comfort and validation to those who have felt the weight of uncertainty and loss. These verses are not just words on a page. They are beacons of empathy, guiding readers through the shadows of confusion and grief. Whispers of the Heart is more than just a book. It's a testament to the enduring power of love and connection. It's a gift that can be personalized, shared, and cherished, honoring the lives of those we hold dear. Join us in embracing the beauty of remembrance and resilience. Whispers of the Heart is available now, a beacon of light in the darkness, reminding us all that love transcends memory.
This song is for you. It's a song that death will never
You can purchase your copy of Whispers of the Heart at thesit.org. That's thesit.org.
You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker.
In talking with your sister, let me share this with you. It was so ironic that I had an opportunity to speak to someone who represents so many different dynamics, because I wanted to broach that conversation with her about, the relationship dynamics. And here you are now bringing another relationship dynamic to us, and that is that of siblings. How did your interpretation of things differ from that of your sisters?
I'm the oldest, but then came Jenny, and she was like the second oldest sister because she's so responsible, as you know. And so I felt that because of the difference in age, that I went through something when I was at a very tough age of my own, 13 and 14, where my mother had a very serious period, and I can say this because she passed now, had a very serious period of depression.
Okay.
And that did run in her family, so that wasn't surprising. And also, she did, when somebody is depressed, drinking is a bad idea. And why I'm saying this in relationship to her illness is I was in high school, and so I got off school like at 1 o'clock, and all my brothers and sisters were in school till like 4 o'clock, plus they weren't old enough, for this to be discussed with them. And every day, I swear, for like 5 months or 6 months, my mother would call down from her bedroom upstairs and say, Julie, can you come up here, please? And I want to tell you that, first of all, this house was a beautiful house, but it had a little scandalous past, in the sense that the mother of the family that had lived there before had, in fact, committed suicide in that room.
Ooh. Lovely.
So here I am, go upstairs. There's Mom. She says, will you go get me, make me a vodka gimlet and come back up? Okay, yes, I will. And go upstairs, and she'd talk to me. If I didn't try to get away from her, she would talk to me for at least an hour or longer until the other kids started coming home, about how depressed she was and how her life wasn't worth anything and she had nothing to live for. And I'm thinking, oh my God, the suicide. Oh my God, wait, I'm not enough to live for. So it was a very challenging thing for a 13-year-old to deal with, I guess.
You guess? No, absolutely. I get it. Believe me, I get it.
And I mean, I loved her dearly, don't get me wrong, but that was hard. And I think that made my reaction to her neediness in the end, in some ways harder, but maybe in other ways easier for me, because I'd, been through her neediness before. But I feel like I'm the only one that had that experience, and that influenced, some of the things that happened when she became ill at the end of her life.
We ignore children's responses to adult behavior. And by that, I mean, we don't really pay much attention to how kids feel about going to get mom a drink, or mom's depression or dad's depression, or mom's dementia or dad's dementia. They're just there. And it's not until later on in life, when they themselves have issues, that we even consider that, oh my gosh, maybe that may have contributed to some of the things that they're going through now. A lot of families, unfortunately, that don't have volunteers in their family and cannot afford respite care to pay someone to come in, are utilizing the existing children in the home to babysit mom, dad, grandma, granddad. And so that's really problematic. And I foresee that that's going to be a huge problem down the line. It's going to manifest itself in various ways, and none of them probably very pleasant. So I'm glad you brought that up, and that's something that we will discuss. In fact, it might now be my next podcast, thanks to you.
Well, I think I agree with what you said, and I don't want to overstate the impact it's had on my life. I agree that it's some aspects of PTSD, but I don't feel like it's had a major impact on me. It's just that when similar things start to happen, that I become more sensitive to it.
Okay.
And in another sense, the other thing it impacted is I was not as close as my siblings were to my mother, and probably partially because of that. That's not to say I didn't go see her and do things with her. She and I and my dad went at least twice a year up to Tahoe, just the three of us, or my second oldest brother, who at that time was single, and we'd all go up to Tahoe and play poker and blackjack and have a great
nice.
time. So we did have a good relationship. It's just that my siblings were much closer, and I think they saw her in a different way because they had not experienced that.
Sure, absolutely. Our experiences do change our perspective. So let me ask you, this is a little deeper question, and I hope it's not, too wounding by me asking you this, but do you question whether you will contract dementia?
Oh, absolutely. Every time I forget a name, and there's some words that I forget constantly, and I'm like, is that the part of the brain that's already gone, and I'm never going to remember that word? All the time.
Okay, you're not alone. Your sister admitted the same thing, and I too have to tell you that I have visited those thoughts frequently as well. And, aging does not help because there's a natural amount of memory loss that comes along with with aging.
Well, I think you, like both my sisters and I, have a very challenging, high level intellectual type of job. So when I do my job, I know for sure my brain is fine, right?
Right.
I think maybe it just is tired at the end of a day of that.
Right.
When my mom got really bad, we did not frequently expose the children to her.
That was good.
When my dad got really bad, it was easier because they were teenagers, and we didn't depend on them to take care of her, but we did expect them to come to him. They did expect them to come and visit him periodically, not frequently.
That's brilliant, actually, and considerate, and aware of the impact that could have on a young life. So
right, and I'll tell you, the reason we felt comfortable with that is the ones that were teenagers were ones that were raised by my sister, Jenny, my sister Becky. Oh, I'm giving all our family names. My sister, who's the physical therapist, and also my youngest brother, whose wife is a brilliant teacher and principal. And all of these children were raised with the utmost emphasis on kindness, empathy, taking care of people, sticking up for the ones that are getting bullied, and so forth. So I think that we felt comfortable that they had learned enough from that they could deal with their grandfather by the time he was sick.
You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker.
So I think what a lot of people maybe know this because it's become more obvious in the press, is that when people are older and they have memory loss, whether it's from dementia or just older age and so forth, music is a healing miracle.
Absolutely.
I used to take to my mom's nursing home the big boom box, and she couldn't remember, what she ate for breakfast. That is, if she ate, because she stopped eating and starved herself in the end. But she couldn't remember any of that. But boy, if I put on the soundtrack of Sound of Music, she'd sing the entire soundtrack from beginning to end.
Do you know how amazing that is? And let me jump in and share this with you. People who have Parkinson's, especially those who have really advanced in it, do some severe shaking. But when they are listening to music and in a dance position, they do not shake.
I never knew that.
They dance with each other and they do not shake. And it is just tearfully joyful to know that they can get a moment's rest from that dang shaking, because I cannot imagine how difficult that is, because they're conscious of it. It's not like, they don't know.
Oh, yeah, you're embarrassed.
Right. Right, exactly. And so, to have moments where they can just not shake and embrace someone and be with a group of people in the same situation as them and feel free, it just gives me joy to know that. So, yes, music is
Yeah.
everything.
And I wished my father had loved music in the same way, because what he really loved was reading. So I foolishly continued to buy him Robert Grisham books and all of that, months after he had stopped reading anything, right?
Right.
Um, because his dementia was associated with Parkinson's. But if I
Okay.
could have played him music, I would have very strongly believed that he could hear it. And so when he passed, all of us took on our own specific duties with regard to arranging his memorial service. And the duty I took on primarily had to do with putting together music for his service. And then I thought he did tell me stuff about music he loved. And I made songs with, Connie Francis and Patsy Cline. And then for some reason, my mom and him used to always go see Buckwheat Zydeco and stuff like that.
Okay.
And of course, Willie Nelson, because he is a godlike presence on earth. I made that, and people really loved it. And I thought, damn, this is what I should have been playing for him. But it didn't occur to me until after he was gone. But people liked it at the service. So, yeah, I wish I had known that. But the other thing is that memorial service and the music also brought a lot of guilt to me, because there was one song that when I was little, when I was like 5 or so, maybe 6, somewhere between 5 and 7 years old, and my brother was just a year and a half younger than me. And then Jenny and the other sister came along, and my mom she was a great piano player.
Ah.
And a great singer.
Whoa.
And she, not professionally, just for us, and she would play a song that my dad loved called Daddy Dear. And it was sort of like, I don't want to sing it for the public on this, but it was like, Daddy Dear, tell me please, is the world really round? And where is the bluebird of happiness found? And it was just the most beautiful song. And I think it had been recorded at one point by Danny Kaye. Well,
Okay.
I wanted that on the memorial mix so badly. And I searched and searched, and I called music archivists and everything, and we could not find it. But what we did find, which was of not of use for the memorial, was a Hebrew version that was a popular folk song in Mexico, or not Mexico, excuse me, of course in Israel, and had a very mournful tone to it. So it wasn't the sing song, and obviously I couldn't understand the words,
Sure.
but it seemed to be sad about the Jewish losses throughout history and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I wanted the happy one that my dad sang with us. And we'd sit on his lap and we'd sing that song. He couldn't sing to save his life, but we didn't care.
The next time you're looking for something, just a clue. I'm going to stop recording. Just a clue of some of the...
That people thought we were awful sometimes when we'd be laughing and laughing at my mom and my dad. But it's fine. They do funny things when they're that way. You don't laugh in their face. Like my mom, one of her symptoms was that when she would talk super loud. And her roommates hated her for that. And that was challenging. But we didn't care. That was their problem. But it was so loud that it would set off car alarms in the
Oh my gosh!
And we would laugh and laugh. And my dad, in another way, every time we went there, most of the time he'd either be out golfing or he'd be bowling. And all things he did in real life, or he'd be playing poker. And it was so funny, because it'd be like, you got to go find my foursome. I don't know where they are. The 18th hole is over there. Can you go look for them over there? And we'd all walk away, and we'd go outside to the trees where he thought they were. We spent hours searching golf and bowling teams and laughing. And while that may seem mean or disrespectful, I think that that's a release.
It is a release, and it also normalizes them because trying to hold in all of these things, this laughter and suppress this and suppress that, that's not living and that's not involving them in life. That is why our production, The Wonderful World of Was, is a musical dramedy, because there is comedy involved in this, and comedy is, as you expressed, it's really not about that person who has a condition. It's about us. It's about how we react to their circumstances and their outbursts and their, behavioral issues. And so, yes, a lot of humor. It's a lot of humor.
I'd love to see that, but I also want you to know that if you do it in LA, Jenny and I have already decided that we're doing a road trip.
Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful, you guys.
We haven't had a sister's road trip in many years.
Oh, well, heck, then we don't have to worry about it. But it would be nice to do it in both places. That would be great. But you guys really, thank you for your support. It means everything. It really does.
Yeah, I know. And we really support each other. And I'm still in touch with the hospice lady at the
good
place where my father died. I found her to be a spiritual person on our planet.
Oh, good.
She looked a lot like you.
Oh, really? Okay. That's great. What year did your dad pass?
It was last October.
I thought that's what I thought Jenny said that. And so what got me was your mom passed early, like you said 2012?
2012, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So
and the other thing, go ahead.
He spent a lot of years alone then.
He did, and we really thought he'd die real quick when she died, because in that relationship, she was on a pedestal so high, it's a miracle she didn't fall off and die earlier. He worshipped her, and he didn't, and to that point, that's why he protected her and didn't share.
I see.
How bad it was. He did not want her to go out of the house because he knew she'd never come home.
I got it.
So, but he did okay. We all just kept up with him, and the other thing, I wanted to say one more thing for folks that is something that I had a lot of guilt over, but I also think this makes sense. For quite some time before my dad died, but especially for the last year or year and a half, we thought, you know what, he just needs to die. That's what he needs to do. He has no quality of life. He doesn't understand. He always knew who the kids were. He knew some of the grandchildren, not all of them, but we just were ready for him to die. And then I felt guilty about that, but I thought, I don't think people should feel guilty about that.
I don't think people should feel guilty about it either, and I think we need to revisit the realities of death, first of all, that it is inevitable no matter what, and that also quality of life is the absence of quality of life is death. And so, right, and so, those things we need to really seriously talk about, and that's why every time I interview someone, I ask them, have they had these conversations with their kids? Because if you do take time, broach this subject, then you will allow your children to understand what your needs are. And once you say what your needs are and wants are, you might go away from that conversation, and 2 weeks later you think, that's not what I really want. That's not,
right.
But you make them a part of that because they're left with all those crummy decisions that have been unspoken, and they have to carry that weight. And that's not a weight that we should pass on to other people.
I agree with you, and I've been speaking with my sister, that's the physical therapist, about that recently, just because I don't have kids, and I don't think my nieces should have to take it on. I think it's going to have to be my siblings, but I've been thinking and told her a lot of stuff that I want to have happen, and I got to start writing it down and
absolutely
getting it done that way.
Don't put it off. Don't ever put it off, because
I know you never know.
No, we can't assume.
I might have had RSV and croaked from this damn sickness I
But
have.
you don't know. I mean, the traffic pattern here in Vegas has turned almost to that of LA. And so most of us are accustomed to driving the old Vegas traffic pattern. And so now we've got people coming passing us on the right and the left. They're cutting us off. It's all kind of crazy stuff happening.
So you never know what's going to happen with that.
Right, all the road construction we have from the teams we stole from you guys, you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you don't know. We don't know if we're going to make it home or not. There are a lot of times when I get out of the car, I'm like, God, thank you so much, because it was doubtful. It's really doubtful.
You thought. Let me say some prayers while we're driving.
Right. You know. Yeah. When I was younger, I used to give everybody the finger, but now that everybody's crazy, I don't care what they do. I don't even look at them. They blow their horn. They give me the finger. I just keep driving.
They're going to have an AK-47.
Right. No, I just keep looking out the front window, hoping for the best. I don't get involved.
Right.
I don't engage. Yeah.
And LA, if the radio on to some music, it'll help you too.
I keep it on, believe me, all the time.
Okay.
Julie, I thank you. This is a really high note to end our conversation on. You have been delightful. Your sister was delightful, and I look forward to having further discussions with your family. What a joy this will be. So, thank you.
I agree, and it's been. I didn't even know that Jenny was friends with you. I'd seen some of your work in various places, but I didn't know she knew you. And I'm so glad to meet you and have some time to talk with you.
Well, thank you so much. Everything that you have shared will be fruitful, I'm sure, to someone in our audience.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is so important.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Until we meet again, I want you to have a wonderful day and continue to feel better.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today on Up is Higher Than Down. We thank you, Julie, for sharing your journey with us. And we hope that this series has shed light on some of the challenges faced by dementia caregivers, while also highlighting the profound moments of connection, joy, and growth that we can arise from such experiences. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. As we part today, let's carry forward the lessons of empathy, patience, and understanding. Let's continue to support one another, uplift each other, and cherish the moments we have with our loved ones. Join us again next time for more stories of strength, hope, and resilience. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.
Listen to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker every day. To follow up, make comments, discuss today's podcast, or find out how you can become a guest and share your victory over a negative life event, follow L.A. Walker. Up is Higher Than Down on Facebook. Look up, get up, stay up. Then help somebody else to get up. Remember, any part of up is higher than down.